people buy people first. In other words, before a person buys your products, before a person buys your service, before a person buys your ideas, you got to make sure that they buy you first. And only if they like you, will they start to trust you. And when they trust you, they'll be more willing to be influenced by you. There is a sequence. And so that was when I realized that how she felt about me was actually a very big part of the decision-making process. I like what Maya Angelou, a famous poet, once said, that people may forget what you said. People may even forget what you did. But people will never, ever forget how you make them feel. And that was when I realized that I need to do something to salvage this meeting. Now, as you can imagine, it was a gone case, right? You know, the meeting went downhill, but I was excited, and I actually begged for another 15-minute meeting with Empress Dowager. I said, you know what, give me some time, let me get back to you. But this time around, I decided to change my strategy. So what I did was, I knew that I need to connect with Empress Dowager first before I can win her over, right? You know, many of us in sales, we tend to focus a lot on convincing, where we should have been doing more connecting. In sales, we're doing a lot of selling, where we should have been doing more bonding. In sales, we do a lot of telling, where we should have been doing more questioning and listening. So this time around, I met her number two, somebody who was very close to her. Fantastic relationship with her. And I met her and I said, you know what, Alice, I'm sorry, I flopped the meeting. Your boss doesn't like me. And Alice said, my boss doesn't like anyone. That made me feel a bit better. So I said, okay, you got to tell me something about your boss, right? What's the background? And she said, my boss is in finance, right? So her favorite word that she likes to use is ROI. You guys heard of this word? Return on investment, right? It's a very popular word. I said, okay, tell me something lighthearted about her. You know, what's something interesting about her? And she said to me that my boss likes to eat. You can see from her size. So I said, okay. I said, what kind of food does she like to eat? And I learned that she likes to eat expensive sushi. You know, the gourmet sushi that sells $60 a plate in Singapore. So I thought, okay, with all this information, I was ready to meet Empress Dowager. So it was another month later, met up with her, same big meeting room. It was freezing cold. She was dressed in all black, looking exactly like this again. Right? No smile, no eye contact. And she said to me, young man, I only got 50 minutes, don't waste my time. But this time around, I was ready. You know what I said? I said, you know what? All trainers are going to tell you how great we are. But you'll never know until you see us in action. So today I want to talk to you a bit about my ROI. The minute I say ROI, she said, what? What did you just say? I say ROI. And she started smiling. Suddenly, everything I said became more interesting. So you know what I did? I started using ROI in every single sentence. The ROI of this speaker is different from the ROI of that speaker, the ROI of this speaker, you know, and she got so excited, you know, she was laughing at everything I said. And for some, I think her husband's name is called ROI. and, you know, something strange happened. Everything I said later on in that meeting was no different from what I said in my first meeting. But this time around, her frozen heart have melted. The spark have been ignited. What was that spark? She helped me realize that before you can influence a person, you got to first win the person over. You know, so we got really into a very interesting conversation. She started asking me about my price. She said, you know what, Eric, you're too expensive. You know, everybody is going to tell you you're very expensive, especially in Asia, right? Because we love discounts. So I decided to give her an analogy, right? You know, because she likes to eat expensive sushi right now. So I told her to imagine me as a sushi. Wrong, 不干, 不可以. You cannot imagine people as, you cannot get your clients to imagine you as sushi because they're going to eat you up. Alright, so I told her to imagine me as a sushi chef. Right, because in Singapore at least, we're willing to pay top dollars to fly this sushi chef down from Japan to slice your fish in just 3 seconds. But people are willing to pay. So I told her this, I say, you know, ma'am, you're willing to pay for this Japanese sushi chef to slice your fish because they took 30 years to master how to slice a fish in 3 seconds. I said, likewise, what you're paying me for is not a 45-minute keynote speech. What you're paying me for is 3 years of work I've done for you, interviewing all the top sales professionals in your industry that you have no access to,